Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today.
Welcome to another Alpha Strike We Play video, and today we're going to be continuing our little painting challenge that we had going here. For those of you who are just, basically if this is the first video you've watched nothing else about it, here's a little recap of what we've been doing.
Challenge is down, we'll have it on video. The Tarron has got a month to paint his Scard.
I will get them done.
So, how's your challenge going?
I've got 10 I've got to finish.
I can see you've made some progress here, so...
Oh, bloody oath, yeah, I've made a lot of progress.
Today I'm joined with by Tarron,
hey guys,
who's part of the challenge, and Matt here.
Hello.
And we also have Ayden here from, what was it, Fenrir
Miniatures.
Fenrir Miniatures, okay. So we invited Ayden along to, well, basically talk about what he does, which is actually kind of cool. But he was going to have a little look at the miniatures. You've never played Dark Age? You've never really had
I know I've seen some of the miniatures around on social media and stuff like that, but I don't know much at all about the games.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, your background was Games Workshop.
Yeah, mostly
we
Games
talked
Workshop
about
stuff.
before.
Yeah, I've painted a little bit of Infinity stuff, but yeah, not played much other stuff.
You've had some experience painting Infinity stuff, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, they're very fun models to paint, very detailed.
Yeah.
So.
Having Ayden here is not to put pressure on you, okay? I have
there's
seen
no
his
pressure.
stuff, it is very, very nice.
No
okay?
judgment.
So, no, it's just wanted to invite him along to have a look at everything as well. So.
Right.
Oh, everyone forgot to bribe with Tim Tams and beer and whatever else is on the market, so it's just going to be what we have here. So, all right, okay. Well, Matt, look, let's start with you.
Yeah, let's.
What actually made you think of this challenge in the first place, actually?
Oh, to motivate Tarron to
He's trying
paint
to be
some of
mean.
the paint some of the miniatures he's been sitting on for several months. I basically told Tarron if he painted up his box, I'd do effectively 2 patrols of Gritzy stuff. A whole bunch of Ravenscar. Sadly, they don't have any specialists, so I couldn't do an entire lot of them with specialists as well. But I got 4 ranks of leaders and 12 of the infantry. And then
That's a bit...
That's insane.
yeah.
and then, I think I've got 4 ranks of leaders, 8 ranks of specialists. Oh no, he's 2,
3,
4,
4, 5,
6.
6.
6 ranks of specialists, sorry, of the wolves as well. So I'm still sitting on some vampires, so I'll hold them in reserve in case I need to motivate Tarron to do some more. Time is a bit of a premium, but I've got very efficient with how I do all the painting. So.
Are you happy with your standards? Is there some tricks and tips that you sort of like to learn and things like that?
I've never watched a YouTube video on how to paint. I've just sort of figured things out as I go. I've got a background in science, so I like to experiment with different things, and I've had hits and misses.
It's fun when stuff explodes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's what we all hang on.
And just combining different things and doing things different ways, and yeah, just adjusted over time with doing things. So
But you've been painting models for a long time, right?
I started 2016 December.
Oh, well, screw you then.
Anything you'd sort of do differently now that as you said, you like to experiment,
I would
like you
address
painted
it.
those?
I would have dressed out their bases probably a bit more than I did. It's the first time I've really used base inserts. So
So those are an insert into the...
most of them are. There's a
base.
few that aren't, and I've just like added little grass tufts and stuff and tried to shade the bases a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all a learning experience as you go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you looking to expand on the Gritzy now that you're sort of...
Well, like I said, I've still got all the Zeddies that I've got to do, basically the vampires. Got specialists and leaders and loads of troops for them.
Yeah.
So I'll just hold them in reserve for when he gets his brood, and then
Well,
challenge number 2.
I've got more Garitzi that I've got to paint up as well, so...
Okay, the Gritzy off.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to get into painting my Garitzi again, but I've been focused on those bloody things for a while, so yeah. It's all
Okay.
good.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right. Well, Tarron, you're being very talkative now all of a sudden. So
No,
we're
I
gonna
didn't say
bring the
nothing.
focus
Come
to you. So, what did you have to paint as part of this challenge?
I had 8 models.
8 models.
Well, don't. Can we cut his bit out and then just put I had 8 models and I painted them in a month. See, that sounds really cool. this dude painted like 150 things and I painted 8. Yeah, no, it was just the starter box for Scarred. So you got the harpies and the buzzblades and a warhead and the leader. And
The
that
father,
was
the trouble father.
it. Yeah. They turn out okay, but yeah, I've had some difficulties with them. Yeah.
So what paints did you actually use? What brands?
On those, I did a mix. Most of it is the rebuilt ones, the dropper.
The drop,
bottles.
yeah.
Most of it is those because I've been trying to get into them. I actually found my bloodstone those.
Oh wow! Okay.
Shock horror. So I've been trying to use them, and I'm still kind of getting used to that. But I also did a bit of with the Citadel ones. My usual paint out the top of the bottle thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is bad. Don't do that.
Do you do that?
Paint over
No,
the top of
is
the
this I'm not going to tell you. It's my painting secrets.
They're good. You shake them up and you pop the top and you dunk
And
your
you just
bottle,
put-
your
yeah.
brush in there and you wet your brush, you dunk your brush, you wet your brush, you dunk your brush, and boom, done.
I guess
Wet
you've
your
got
brush.
to. Pillar and I just recently started looking at the wet palette, sort of how to have a wet palette. We've never
Yeah.
we've heard about it. We've never actually done anything with it, but
I
I find it
came-
just helps with the paint. Doesn't dry out. It's just it's really. Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
always,
Yeah. There you go. So we're on the right track.
With paints doesn't work.
Yeah. So what actually? Yeah. What we're talking about, paint. What sort of paints do you use in your collection?
Yeah, I use a mix. Yeah, I've kind of gone more towards Vallejo these days.
Okay.
But I still use a lot of Citadel stuff. Yeah.
You find the dropper bottle is better?
It's easier to use. Yeah, especially if you just drop it on a palette. Yeah. I like the sort of more matte look that the model color range gives. I'm not into sort of the models being a bit too shiny. So
Yeah.
the Vallejo are really nice.
Yeah.
For that, the model color range. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why mate Cameron or whatever, he also changed over from a lot of the GW paints over to Reaper because they're the same sort of thing. You
Yeah.
drop a bottle and they're not
Yeah,
glossy.
it's
They have a gloss and a matte
Yeah.
clear coat and all that sort of thing, so it's not like you can't get around it. But
Yeah.
I like them. I still find myself using too much. You know, like
Oh, do you?
a dropper, but I'm trying to do a couple of different like blends of colours or something. So you put a drop of that, and then you want to mix a drop of this, but you don't want it too dark. So you put 2 drops of that, and then 1 of this, and that does so much, and you end up with this little pool of
Yeah.
paint, and you go, and I've wasted all that paint, man. Jeez. So yeah, pay attention to your amounts if you're using a dropper bottle, because it's
I think the wet palette then would definitely be the way to go because the paints
Probably, yeah.
they don't dry out in there.
Lid on and yeah.
Yeah.
you can just keep doing it. So I've got one of those little white circular ones that you just drop them into the little things.
Next time you're around Pelé, you can take a picture of my paint table. It's just literally MDF with loads of mixed stripes and things all over it. That's as sophisticated as I get with my paint mixing. Straight on the MDF. It's a very. My wife said it's almost a piece of art. And it's,
I was just going to say, she's right on the money there. You just swap it out for a new one and hang this one up on the wall.
Can probably get a couple of $100,000 for it. Hang it up, boom.
So how did you guys find actually like assembling and all your models? I mean, each company has their own like methods of sort of building models and how they
well,
put them
they're-
out on machines.
They're both cool mini or not games. So the plastics here, I found I had to do a bit of trimming with all the little bits that plug in to make them fit and line up properly because they're not the mold release, but there was little like tags on the plastic, and some of them had either expanded or shrunk compared to the actual model. So there's a bit of trimming, a little bit of filling. Some of them I had inherited from the person I bought them off already assembled, and that was a bit of a mess. Yeah.
If you're watching, he's very sorry. No, it's okay. No, I understand. People they
I'm
do
not
it, it's
apologising.
exciting.
Yeah, so I mean, it didn't take much to sort of fix them, but it was a bit of filling when there was a couple of them had like 3mm gaps between where they were meant to have lined up. So yeah, it wasn't. No, they were easy enough to assemble. A couple of bits that were snapped that I had to replace, like a spear.
Oh, those are terrible.
Yeah, and there was one of these guys' spikes on his arm was not there, so I had to just cut a bit of plastic and shove it in the hole.
Be creative.
Yeah, so yeah, they were easy enough to assemble, easy enough to paint. Because they're plastic that, I forget what the type of plastic is, that shrinks a little. There's some of the detail, because I've got some of the resin ones because these were inherited from someone with Kickstarter. But some of the resin ones and the detail on those was a lot greater than the plastic, so I just went from reference on the resin and then had to add a bit of detail with paint. But yeah, they were easy enough to assemble, nice to paint. So
they went together okay, but they're like I had to do it the way that I don't like doing it. I like painting some of them before I put them together. Like this fella here, see how his arms are crossed like that? That arm went on after I painted it.
Okay.
So I painted him, and I painted the arm, and then I glued the arm on. And that way I've got him actually done. You can see in there that it's actually painted. But these ones I can't do that. You can't put them together after you've painted them. So it's a bit of a challenge, and there's little bits there that aren't painted properly, and there's little streaks on things where I've run the brush into somewhere where I think I can get to, and I haven't cleaned it off quickly enough, and it's like, ah.
Do you find, is that how you sort of do your pieces and commission?
Yeah, most of the time like to sort of leave them in a bit of a sub-assembly, especially when you've got things like two-handed weapons like that crossing the body. It's easy to paint.
There you go. There's somebody else out there that does it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it definitely helps with getting a nice paint job on it. But sometimes you get a bit of a mess with all the bits everywhere. And
One of the bits goes missing. It's like, oh my god. But those I had to put them together, and I put them on their bases before I painted them as well. So that was a new experience. Yay.
I do like the work on those scenic bases though. They've come up good.
I had to get something right. I got to do something well. But like I was saying to you, when I've done them, I'm trying out a few different. I want to know how you got this brown skin tone thing here, because I've tried something similar there, and I'm trying a grey skin tone that I haven't done before, and it's all an experiment. They worked out, they're fine, they're tabletop ready. I can take them and game. It's just they haven't technically worked out the way I wanted them to, and that's the bit. You see, that's where you come into the whole thing.
Your own worst critic though, in anything.
Oh, everybody's always their own worst critic. That's how it works. It's like I'm on one hand I'm happy with them because they're tabletop ready. I can take them to a tournament and get away with playing a game with them instead of blue tacking models together, which I generally do. I've never really been big on the hobby side. This is me just getting into the hobby side thing here. It's just the games. But I mean, I'm perfectly happy to take them to a tournament or whatever, a tournament, and play. But yeah, they didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them to, and that's kind of the evolution of the painting thing. Is they didn't turn out quite how I wanted them to, so the next time I'll go, that didn't work, let's try this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's
And
experimentation.
It's important.
And I think everyone does that anyway. You can watch videos and figure out whatever, but until you actually put some paint on a model and just sort of see how it flows and works.
Yeah, give it a crack, guys.
Yeah,
Have a shot.
That's the best thing to do. So.
Whereas I'm very different. I always paint mine all assembled, and I've just modified loads of brushes to be able to have hooked ends to go into things. So I've just got an assortment of brushes. Well, it works for me. It works for me.
That's what you have to do is give it a shot and find a way that works for you.
Yeah.
But it is I don't know if you agree with this, but I think it is a very personal thing. It's an artistic thing. It's creative. You have to do it your way, otherwise there's no point. If you're just forcing yourself to do it for some other reason, and that doesn't include timelines. Timelines are bad as far as I'm concerned, but I'll live with it. I'll live with it.
You're about the experience rather than sort of smashing them out, really, aren't you? You've
I
mentioned that to me enough
These
times,
guys here, the Goritzi, I spent about 3 months just trying to come up with a theme for the bases. I wanted to try and figure out how I wanted them set out. And then I think you gave me an old tombstone or something. I think it's that, like a plastic tombstone thing. And I'm like, right, that's it. That's gonna be it. And I got some of the rocks, and I got this pumice stuff, and I got some of that, and I started doing the swamp, old battlefield swamp thing that I wanted to do. And that was how I got motivated to actually put paint on the models, was figuring something out, gave me that boom, okay, let's get into this before we lose it again, sort of thing. And I pumped through them, but it took me ages to get to.
Do you find when people approach you for commission work that they sort of tell you what sort of battlefield they're going on? Do you get that a lot, or do they just say, look, just paint them for me and do whatever you think?
More the latter. I've had a lot of people just go, just want them painted like they are on the box or something like that. But then you get some people who sort of want to personalise it a bit more and going for a bit more of a theme. It's a mix.
Okay. What's your sort of weirdest paint colour combination request? There'd be a few of them. I mean, you've got aliens and all that sort of thing, but something that you know should be colour A, and someone says, no, I want a colour B. Really?
So, I haven't had any really kind of weird things like that. I've had a client that wanted some Games Workshop tower models painted like Gundam style sort of.
Oh, hey, okay. That would actually be cool.
It was kind of more of a technical. I think he was probably asking a bit too much of me. They sort of had a bit of a glow kind of. I don't follow Gundam that much, but he wanted them to kind of have that bit of that sort of feel to it. So
I just remember seeing some pink Necrons on the internet one time. I'm like, that's a bit different, but that's what they're going for. They want something that no one else probably has. Well, you did it.
Wow.
Pink Necrons. Glowing eyes.
Very cool.
So you've had a look at some of these models. So.
Two of them, we can slide the rest.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a look at the rest later or whatever, but it's just the actual models themselves. So if someone gave you a blank canvas, do they, like the cool mini or not figures, are they different? Like what do you think of them essentially?
They feel to me a lot like War Machine Hordes sort of style. There's some of the sort of like steampunk kind of elements to them. And then also like the oversized sort of weapons and things like that. It's kind of exaggerated details and things. I'm definitely into the big wolf men. They're pretty cool.
This guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Goritzi gets a lot of love. They do.
Big goat wolf men.
It's in the mold.
The demon wolf.
Yeah. There's some nice sort of little elements on the armor plating and things like that. Yeah, pretty cool.
So when you're sort of looking on the internet and whatever else doing your thing, are you more interested in how the models are as opposed to the rules?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've always tried to approach it with more of a hobbyist painter's mindset. I wouldn't play an army if I didn't like the models. Definitely comes down to the painting. Is the most important thing.
Yeah. Because I think that's sort of what happened a little bit with Dark Age, because Dark Age's been around for a while. They've basically been re-sculpting their range. They've done a lot of work, so it's sort of getting to the end of it now, where they've sort of redone everything and then bringing out new units and stuff. But I found like the rules were very good, but the models didn't really inspire me that much. That's why I didn't sort of get into it. But now they are coming along really nice. There's some nice stuff, especially like I like the new Scarred. They actually look really good. And those harpies, as fragile as
I
they
bought my
are.
Scarred to, we can put them side to side for some of the I'd seen the old sculpts versus the new sculpts.
Oh right, okay, yeah, that's why. Yeah.
I was going to say, these are the ones you painted on the way over.
Yeah, I did these in the car just to show off.
Like the traffic lights.
Yeah, the paint went through my teeth.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Always painting.
Hashtag always painting.
So, tell us a little bit about what you do,
Yeah.
and we'll sort of just help people see.
So I started the Fenrir Miniatures as a Facebook page to advertise my commission painting.
Okay.
So I gave it the name Fenrir Miniatures. And I've been doing the commission painting for 2 years. I've actually stopped doing it.
Okay.
But I was doing it for a year full time. And it gets to the point where you start painting hundreds of models. Like, it gets a bit crazy. So I kind of moved away from the commission painting just because financially it wasn't very viable, unfortunately. And now I'm kind of just trying to paint more for myself. I've tried to pushing myself to enter as many painting comps that are around there. It's mostly been ones that are affiliated with Games Workshop, so I've kind of, you know, worked a lot with those guys, and that's kind of where my hobby started. I've been painting for 13, 14 years now, since I was in primary school, so it's been a while, yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have you travelled sort of interstate for some of your?
No, I haven't.
Did you? No? Okay,
no,
so-
I haven't, fortunately. Yeah, no, that's something I would love to go to Golden Demon one day in the UK. Unfortunately, it's only in the UK now, or in Europe now. But yeah, it was sad that they took that away from Australia. The coolest things I painted were actually some molds, some you know, scale mold models that were cast from the Jurassic Park dinosaurs. That were
Cool.
Wow.
Okay.
There was a T-Rex that was sort of this.
Oh, yeah.
that was really fun. Yeah. So there was some pretty out there kind of really different things that I did. Not just like for wargaming. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Well, you bought some minis with you as well.
Yeah, I did. Should've got that, yeah. These are just my own. These are kind of the only models that I have that are display quality ones. I've kind of sold a lot of models as I've gone along.
Yeah.
So these guys are from 30k. I mentioned to you guys
the
earlier.
Heresy,
The Horus Heresy era sort of thing, and that's kind of that's my most, you know, when I get to game, that's what I do, and it's a really cool community. There's a lot of the guys at Outpost 6030 up in South Perth, and they play a lot of this, and it's a really cool community. A lot of them are, you know, this similar sort of mindset. They like having nicely painted models to play with.
Yeah.
It's more about kind of having a good time and playing a game where you've got just like a nice table set up and nicely painted models, and just having a bit more fun rather than it being kind of a competitive sort of thing, which I've kind of found that I fit into a bit more than kind of the more competitive side of things. So
There's no pressure, which is what Tarron was talking about.
There's no
pressure.
timelines.
You just, they might have the model might need to be finished by a certain date or whatever, but you can focus on a model and really bring it to life.
Yeah.
And then when you've got to paint the rest of the army to that standard.
I've painted about 50 or 60 Space Marines for this army. So
that should be enough.
and about that many to go as well. So it's kind of how it goes in 30k. You have a lot of infantry. Lately, I've been trying to push the more kind of like blending and working more with a brush. I think I've kind of got more into there's a lot of airbrushing involved in these guys, and I think in the past couple of years I've kind of got really comfortable with painting with an airbrush, and there is still like a lot of brush work in there, but it's this guy actually in particular. I said to myself, I'm not going to touch the airbrush, so that's all brush work. So I think it's just kind of I've been trying to push myself to not rely on the airbrush too much and get more familiar with painting with a brush. Back to the old days.
Is there a particular brand of sort of airbrush? Because there's so many out there, and some people they have what they consider a cheap model one, and it seems to work really well. But it could be just their style of how they do it.
I guess it depends. If you're doing commission painting like I was using a Sparmax brand one, which is kind of an imitation of a cheaper imitation of the Iwata brand, which I do use now.
Okay.
But when you're doing commission painting, like you can sort of hammer the airbrush a bit, and it does. They do wear out a bit, so it is good to have a more decent one. But if you're not using it, every day, then the cheaper ones are good, like for getting base coats on things and stuff like that, which helps a lot with time getting things done. But you definitely notice the difference with the more expensive ones.
Okay. Vallejo also do an air. range. Do you use those, or do you just mix?
I do,
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you find that they are better than just using their paints with a bit of thinner that they provide?
I tend to water them down a little bit still.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it kind of depends what application it is. If it's kind of just, like I said, base coating some models, you can just chuck it straight in there and just go for it. But some of the finer sort of getting the highlights and things like that, you might need to thin it down a little bit, otherwise it can get a bit too kind of grainy or whatever.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, it's all just a matter of playing around with the consistencies of it and trying to, suiting it. Trying to get it to suit what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Vallejo ones are definitely really good. It's handy to have them pre-thinned. And I found actually my favourite paints in that air range are the metallic ones. They're actually really good to use with the paintbrush as well.
Really?
They have amazing application. Yeah.
Wow.
Just straight from the bottle onto the palette and just go for it. Yeah, they're
Ooh, I might have to look into
Yeah,
that. I guess.
yeah.
I mean,
really good coverage.
I really
wouldn't think.
like the metallics that Reaper do,
Okay.
so that's what I use. But yeah,
Yeah, I'd recommend checking them out. There's actually they're in a bigger bottle. They're called, I can't remember what they're called now, but they're airbrush ready. But just chuck them on the palette with your brush and amazing coverage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you want your paint nice and thin, but you want good coverage.
Yeah,
because you don't want to
definitely.
lose any detail. There's so much on all the new figures that they're bringing out now. Just there's so much detail on them, you know.
Yeah.
So you still have a Facebook page?
Yeah, and an Instagram page as well, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Instagram, you just here's my latest model, which
Yeah.
I'll have to find you so I can follow that because I want to see some of your stuff.
I kind of favour Instagram a bit more. I have a bit more of a following on there for some reason. But they're linked to my Facebook anyway, so usually whatever I put on my Instagram, it's shared to
It
my
goes
Facebook
across.
page anyway,
Okay.
so-
Yeah. No, that's cool. So what are your plans for the future then? I know you're not going to sort of do much commission paint, but you.
Maybe one day in the future. I don't know. Yeah, just see how I go. Yeah, but I'm kind of trying to go to more towards doing tutorials and with this workshop coming up at the Southern Hemisphere Open. See how that goes, and that might be a good stepping stone for going more into teaching people to paint rather than teaching people to paint their own models rather than painting them for them.
Yeah.
It's on at the Southern Hemisphere Open, and I'm doing the workshop on Saturday, the 22nd, I think that is. It'll run from 9 AM to 1 PM, so it's a 4-hour little workshop. More specifically, it's focusing on, I don't actually have the model here, I'm still actually working on it. It'll be sort of the sample model that I'll have there on the day that the students can look at, but it's basically a Games Workshop model again. It's an elf model, and we'll be focusing on painting the cloak. So I think that's, I think it'd be a good sort of application for it because it's a nice, large area. To get some.
I might have to sit in on that one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's never hurts to sort of get some tips and things like that. So well, that's cool. Okay.
Well, we'll all be at Southern Hemisphere then. Matt's running a tournament.
Yeah.
Do
So
you wanna say
Which
a few
apparently
words?
I'm in.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be running demos for Dark Age. We'll be helping Ayden with Wrath of Kings and Song of Ice and Fire on Saturday, and then playing the Dark Age tournament on Sunday. So yeah, we're rapidly getting more and more people in that, so it'll be good. So and if we can reach our total of 16 minimum, then the winner can get the Immortals entry, which basically means you get to have input in making your own miniature. They get written into the story of the game and everything else. So it's a pretty good prize if you can win our tournament, go over to the US and win that one. You get immortalised into the game basically. So.
Well, if you're coming to Southern Hemisphere Open, come and see all of us. Come and say hello. Come and check. Even if you couldn't get a place at Ayden's table, at least come along and see what's going on. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer a few questions for like 4 hours. So you'll be right. But come along, have some games on the demo tables and come and check it out because it is a good thing. Mike and his wife have worked really hard to sort of build this up, and so more and more people are getting behind it, and it is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. So we'll put some links and whatever else to everything that we've talked about today. Thank you for joining us.
Alright,
It's really good to have you here and just to see your work. So we're going to have a closer look at these models now and decide if we're going to throw in the towel and never paint again.
Never paint again. Ever. That's it, I'm done.
But that's it. But thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing the challenge. I mean, the challenge is at whatever level you want to do.
Cracks, man. They look awesome. I have to say, they look awesome. Alright, so that's out there.
It all looks awesome.
It all of it looks awesome. Yeah, it's not about the quantity and things like that. It was just building up the collection and painting your stuff.
It was a good to tease you about, but I was not going to hassle you in that regard. So,
Like I said, I let myself accept the challenge. It was a good one.
PS.
It's a PS. Here's a
G.
challenge where everybody can, even Ayden can participate.
Ayden will. There you go. We're going to make a decision for it. You get involved.
Shall we put a timeline on it?
No.
We'll have a challenge, but no timeline.
So the challenge is to build like a bigger display scene base for the models you just did.
Oh,
So
for the
they
ones
all-
we've just done.
So for the ones you just done, you can use whatever ones you want.
That'll teach you to paint 100 and so on figures. Now you're going to make
Yeah,
up.
now you got to do a big diorama for like 100
That's what I do.
We're doing a diorama?
Diorama is the right word, right?
Okay.
So something they can sit on and that looks fantastic and goes with the theme and basis and the fashion.
With these guys, or can I make it for...
No, the ones you use for
Okay.
this challenge.
For the
So
challenge.
it's-
So
this is
I
continuing.
think you have to do a Gritzy style something. like
Ritzy
that.
style and
You
know
don't
what?
have to include all of them, obviously.
No, all of them. He has to include all of them.
Oh.
You chose them, you did. So Adam, do you
This
want to
is
be
gonna
in?
be
You can pick your... What do you want to pick? You haven't painted anything.
I'm actually trying
I'm
to
coming
work out.
last in this challenge.
Yeah,
so.
I'm actually trying to work out. how to
Maybe
do
you should just have to paint the stuff.
At least you can paint.
yeah. Yeah, maybe I need to do a Shalhan theme display thing. I think
Yes.
actually, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I'll be
No.
on the bandwagon.
Just something, yeah.
We'll try and make a scene.
How long have we got?
I don't know.
Oh, we're not gonna.
2 months this time?
Oh.
We'll come back tomorrow and film. So do it tonight.
Yeah.
No, that's way too long. He'll have done 2 by then.
I don't know. We'll just sort of put it out there, and once we've all sort of done our little project, we can come back and we'll get some photos taken and film, and we'll go from there. So.
Let's go without the timeline, and then if I get anxious, I'll just put a timeline on it. How's that?
So I'll do my Shalhan.
Yeah.
You are happy to do the Scard? Give a Scard go.
Well, like I say, I was actually thinking of doing something like that for a friend down like the track. So it might not be a good idea to do it for that. So I should probably do it for the SCART, I guess. Yeah, alright, why not?
Alright.
Give it a shot.
I can do my dying forest somewhere in I forget what the Gritzy's land is, but
Teluria?
Deloria, yeah.
Teluria.
Did you paint a lot of GW stuff? Did you want to do it as a GW theme thing, or did you want to give something from Cool Mini or Not a go with us? We can sort something out for you if you want.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to get the models and the base done in time. Display board.
This is what happens when you turn up here, man. People
Yeah.
start saying you have to do stuff. Suddenly your whole life's gone.
I can cheat because I've already made all my own trees. So.
You
Oh.
have too.
So, I mean, I would love to paint some Dark Age or Wrath of Kings at some point. So
Well, we can do that as a separate thing.
Yeah.
So it's all even for everybody to just
Yeah.
do the diorama. So pick.
got plenty of these Ultramarines guys painted already. So
Yeah, well,
We'll do
just
that.
do that or whatever. Yeah, the other option is you could like pick a game and then pick a faction that you sort of think you'd like to go with, and then make a display base for that. But yeah, I mean, at least if you're doing something for Space Marines now, you can at least take that with you if you go to events or whatever it is. So yeah, that'd be the way to go. All right.
Everyone in?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be good. Sorry, Tarron. No time.
I didn't give you a timeline
No time
this
limit.
time.
Yeah, no, that's okay then.
We've got to give him time to do stuff before the Southern Hemisphere Open.
Yeah. So let's
yeah.
after the Southern Hemisphere, I'll give you a timeline. How's that?
I've got another like couple of 100 points worth of models that I've got to paint up here.
Yeah.
So.
So that's it. All right.
Thank you.
We'll go with that.
Yay.